Well, good day, folks. This is Scott with Sanctuary Select Services, and today I have our responses to the question of the week from a week ago Monday. So, that question of the week was: many people assume they would immediately recognize a deadly threat, but real situations are often confusing and develop in stages. What signs or behaviors do you think people overlook right before violence occurs? So one response I got, Alan C. Once again, Alan Cole, thank you for reaching out. I can always trust on my range safety officer to jump in here and help me out and give me something to talk about. Alan says, first I look at what's right in front of me or around me in close proximity. Then I start to scan the rest of the area. It's the people who look uneasy or anxious, always looking around like they're hiding something. With child predators and human trafficking being a huge thing, I look at or for people that are fixed on children, women, or even just the weaker individual that looks like an easy target. A lot of times, I feel the ones that look harmless are the most dangerous. So, Alan and I spend a lot of time talking about situational awareness training, what things we should be looking for our own personal safety. And Alan took this the next step by talking about what to look for if somebody is maybe targeting somebody else, right? That's also important, right? If we're going to be, protectors and sheepdog, then we need to be paying attention not just to our own situations and our own safety, but also looking out for those other people that are out there who also might be oblivious to what's about to happen to them. The second answer I got to this week's question of the week came from Alan Cruth, who's a very good friend of mine. Alan and I have been friends since we met in basic training in 1989. I call him my big little brother. So Alan's situation that he laid out is kind of long, so I'm going to surmise it. He got dropped off by a friend of his to walk out to a hunting stand up in northern Minnesota. As he was walking down the road to get to his hunting stand, he was accosted by a couple of other hunters that were out there. Unknown to Al, these two other guys that were out there had some beef with the person that dropped him off, right? Alan didn't know anything about this. He didn't know that there's heartache or heartburn between these two guys and the person that dropped him off. Al just wanted to go hunting. So after they yelled at him a little bit, he continued on, just basically dismissed them. Then there were a couple of shots fired. Al's not sure if they were shooting at him or if they were shooting at wildlife. Needless to say, it got Al's attention. Following that, these two gentlemen approached him and continued to be in his face about whatever was going on. Al turned and walked away from them and went back out to the road. The police were called. They came out. Nothing came of it. But out there, the situation was you had three people, all carrying rifles, all hunting, all capable of extreme violence, right? Nothing really horrible happened, but it just sets us up to think about the most innocent of things that we could be doing. We could be met with some kind of a threat, right? Somebody that just misunderstands or makes an assumption, or I prefer the word presumption, that I'm the person or I'm with the person who they saw drop off, right? All we're trying to do is live our lives and go about our business and do what we plan to do. In this case, Al was just going hunting, right? He didn't necessarily try to de-escalate the situation, but he didn't really escalate it to the point where anything else happened. So he did what he could do. And what he did was mostly right. He disassociated from the situation. He walked away from that. He went out to an open road and waited for the law enforcement that these other guys had called to show up. And then that was the end of that particular situation. So you can see how situational awareness works in so many places in helping us to identify who might be a threat, what the threat might be, who the threat might be aimed at or going to be about, right? So Alan Cole gave us some good pointers on what he looks for in those people that could be a threat when he's assessing that local situation, right? Somebody who's acting shady, somebody who's maybe looking for the easiest target. Other things would be, somebody else is looking around. If everybody else is looking at their cell phones and they're involved in whatever they're doing and they're just oblivious to the situation, the people that are looking around and making eye contact with other people are doing one of two things, in my own opinion. They're looking for targets or they're exercising situational awareness, right? It's going to be one of those two things, I think. So if you make eye contact with somebody out when you're out in public, the question to ask is, what's their motivation? What's your motivation? Are you the predator? Or are you going to make sure you're not the prey? All right. Hey, I appreciate the feedback from you two owls. I could use a lot more of that kind of feedback, a lot more comments, thoughts, opinions. You don't have to have a story to tell. If you like this content, like I said, I'm just still new to this. I've only been doing this now a couple of months. I could sure use some feedback and some motivation. Let me know, what questions you might want to have asked. I do have a long list, but if I get a good question, I'll throw that in the next week or two, just to kind of make sure that you guys feel involved, because you are. I'm sharing this information to help you guys be smarter, more prepared, and able to defend yourself or identify a threat, so you don't have to defend yourself. Right? The only fight you ever win is the one you're never in. In the meantime, hit the smash, press, click, poke, like, subscribe, share, and please add some comments. I really appreciate that. You guys have a great week. I hope everybody has the same number of fingers and toes they started the 4th of July with. God bless you.